please. It's the agenda of the regular monthly meeting of the City Commission of Rio Grande City. It's Wednesday, August 6, 2014. At the record show, that is 12 noon by the clock on the wall. On the dot, we're at Commission Chambers at 101 South Washington, in beautiful downtown Rio Grande City, Texas. I've called this meeting to order. I will do an invocation, and I will ask Commissioner Jones to lead us in a pledge of law. Ladies and gentlemen, on this agenda, I ask that you please refer to number 1, and that was letter A. We go to letter B, and for that we have Ms. Hawley for a roll call and finding of a quorum. Ms. Hawley, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Villarreal.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Garza.
Here.
Commissioner Salinas is absent. Commissioner Ramirez.
Here.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
You have a quorum, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. We have some public forum items. Let me get the first one out of the way. It's almost in the form of a department report, but I think Len wants to do it just to be appropriate. Oh, I take it back. She has a particular project she wants to talk about. Thank you very much for bringing it to the attention, and I'm not going to, I'll read what it says here. Her issue is Mirasoles Street speed limit reduction. Marlene, you have 3 minutes to discuss this item before this commission, and I ask that you please honor the time elements we continue the meeting. Thank you so much. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you so much, Mayor, City Commission. Today, I am here representing myself. For those of you that may not know me, my name is Marlene Mendoza, and I hold dual roles in the city. I am also the Main Street Program Coordinator. And I took the initiative of trying to take a petition because I felt there was a need for a speed limit reduction on Mirasoles Street. I went around and spoke to several city residents, and they were all in agreement. Some of them wanted 20 miles an hour, some of them 25. So I do leave it up to the commission to set the speed limit, but they were in favor of a speed limit reduction and of a posting of the speed limit on Mirasoles Street, being that it's a very narrow street, and several of us as city employees, as well as myself, we've had close calls where cars will be speeding by, and I would like to pass around the petition, and that's it. That's what I have to present today.
I'm not going to take it. We'll have something in the next agenda because I think you talked to me about it. The way that the ordinance reads, all city streets are 30 miles an hour, but we can make special provisions on certain streets, and I think that's a great idea because that street is narrow. It's one of the oldest streets in Rio Grande City, and it does require perhaps a little more care. So we will definitely look at it. We'll consider the different options for the next meeting. And Ms. Hawley, will you please make some sort of note to have something on the next meeting regarding that? To see, I know it's a process, and there's a hearing process, the notice process. So we'll get the process started. Not to be quickly, but eventually it'll get done. I think it takes 60 days. Is that right? Okay. So thank you for that information. Thank you for the petition. I'll hand it to Ms. Hawley. I wish she can include it in the minutes of the record of this meeting. The next person that I have on the public forum, I have Maria M. Requenes. She's here to talk about Mireida C. Peña wine beer license proposal of business. Ma'am, you have 3 minutes to discuss your item. Please keep your comments to the agenda item. Please keep within the 3 minutes. I appreciate it if you would, please. You have 3 minutes, ma'am.
Requenes. I am a 5th generation product of this town. I'm very proud of this town, and I'm still living next to where my great-great-grandparents lived, and that's down Mirasoles Street. My heart is here with the citizens, with myself, my family, and all of my neighborhood. And why am I here? I'm here because I'm very concerned because I am affected directly by these gentlemen and lady opening a lounge next door to my home. Okay, my home is 100 years old. It was built in 1914. There's exactly, or maybe less, more than 50 feet from where they do their thing to my parents' home. And according to the city ordinance on noise, it says that it will be a violation. Okay, our lives have been affected tremendously for the past 2 years with their opening of their party home, party place. But this was children hours at the most, 3 hours at the most. It was very loud. And yet, my father was very sick, okay? But we would let him go, we didn't want any problems. But now they're proposing a different kind of business and even closer. And we're against it. There's 22 people that signed a petition, and it affects us. The safety affects us. The outcome affects us. We have children that go to school. We have working people that need a good night's sleep. Okay? I can't go and sit in my porch because there's going to be noise. Okay? So there will be 6 to 8 more people signing the petition because we do not want it. So I'm hoping that you all are thinking of our welfare, the welfare of the citizens. Put yourself in our place. Would you like a noisy place next door to your home? This is my home. My home. Please have consideration. Okay, again, 22 signatures, neighborhood residents against issuing alcohol license to be used for Luminario Meat Lounge. That's the way it is in the Texas Beverage Alcohol Commission, the first page. That information. Okay, next to resident home within our neighborhood, next to it by 50 feet, which is in the ordinance. The establishing of this lounge, the noise will be in violation of City Noise Ordinance, Section 9-102, Section B, C, and D. So this is in black and white. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Okay, we still have some more public forum, City Commission, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the audience. The next person that I'll have speak, ¿tiene que hablar en español? Voy a hacer en español. Es una parte de una discusión aquí. No estamos obligados como una comisión de responder porque esto es para los negocios que tenemos aquí entre nosotros como regidores, y por eso los comentarios que ustedes dan los recibimos con todo gusto, pero si no respondemos es parte de la organización que tenemos, el proceso que tenemos aquí. Así que por favor, van a tener 3 minutos para discutir su tema y por favor ven entre los 3 minutos porque necesitamos seguir en la agenda que tenemos. Así que la primera persona que voy a reconocer en la agenda, así como lo tengo aquí, es Víctor H. Barrera, 506 East Main Street, y viene a hablar, yo creo, del lugar.
Sí.
Okay. ¿Tiene 3 minutos, señor?
Muy buenas veces. Si me permiten hablar en español.
Claro.
Si me permiten. Mi nombre es Víctor Hugo Barrera. Yo ya me siento de aquí porque tenemos un negocio, un salón de eventos perfectamente como dice la señora. Me siento de aquí porque todo mi dinero, mi ahorro y todo yo he invertido en ese negocio. He invertido, he luchado y yo ya me siento de aquí de Río Grande porque toda mi familia está creciendo. Tengo una niña de 8 años y un niño de 5 años que estoy invirtiendo todo para ese negocio. La única intención que yo quiero hacer es un negocio. La señora, por lo que veo hay unos inconvenientes, que es solamente que hay una persona, solamente ella trae una lista de 22 personas, pero solamente una persona vive a 50 pies de mi negocio. El crecimiento, yo solamente quiero el crecimiento, yo solamente quiero el trabajo. Simple y sencillamente, las otras 22 personas no viven cerca del negocio que yo quiero abrir. Nosotros ya tenemos más de 2 años con 4 meses con un salón de eventos y nunca había habido ninguna queja de un sonido. Yo no he roto ninguna violación porque yo no he abierto mi negocio. Hay especulaciones, pero realmente yo no he abierto mi negocio. Simplemente lo que quiero aclarar eso. Nosotros hemos seguido, aquí traigo yo todas las ordenanzas que ustedes, con todo respeto, han puesto en la ley y yo las he seguido. He seguido todas mis reglas, todos los pasos a seguir y todos los puntos. Lo que yo ya no veo, porque ya llevamos, me han hecho perder tiempo, tanto en el aspecto porque con la licencia y con situaciones que realmente yo no entiendo y no es por estar aquí. Solamente estoy siguiendo las ordenanzas y las quiero seguir teniendo. Pero me están negando, o no sé, me están diciendo, con todo respeto también, la licenciada, ayer dio un punto de vista y ella es imparcial. Sus papás viven detrás de mi negocio. Y ella ayer comentó La primera vez me aceptaron el permiso, me aceptaron el permiso y todo, y luego dijeron que siempre ya no, que se regresaba, que ahora. Entonces quiero saber cuál es la razón, si primero me están dando una afirmación y luego que no, buscaron alguna otra opción. Hay una persona que esté aquí, que esté diciendo, ahora sí, porque están aceptando primero mi permiso con todas las leyes y reglas y ahora me dicen que siempre no. Entonces hay alguien que está diciendo, mira, hazle por aquí, hazle por acá, y eso no me parece justo. Yo nomás es lo que quiero decir.
Pero los comentarios verdaderamente lo vamos a recibir y a ratito después que terminamos hacer unos breves comentarios yo personalmente, pero deja que termine esta sección, así que muchas gracias.
Gracias, y estamos cumpliendo con todo lo que el Río Grande nos está pidiendo.
Muy gracias. La siguiente persona que tenemos para hablar en la Public Forum, la sección, tenemos a Mireya C. Peña, y me parece que creo hablar del mismo asunto. Tiene 3 minutos, así como les expliqué al señor Barrera, de discutir su tema, y si no respondemos no es nada de falta de respeto, más que no podemos responder, es una cuestión del proceso. Así que tiene 3 minutos.
Claro, claro que sí. Me explico mejor en español, realmente sí es en inglés, pero...
Usted
Ok, bueno, mi nombre es Mireya Peña, tenemos un negocio, como mi esposo lo dice, aquí en el centro de Río Grande, que cuando se compró el negocio realmente empezamos con los trámites, que era una zona comercial, empezamos, ¿verdad? Estamos dentro del departamento histórico, seguimos todas las reglas, hubo de hecho ahí ciertos inconvenientes que teníamos que seguir, ¿verdad? Y se cumplieron. Hasta que no se cumplió con todos los requisitos, nosotros abrimos, ¿verdad? El local. Todo el tiempo se manejó, desde que vinimos empezando con los planos del negocio, se manejó que iba a ser un lugar comercial, porque es la dirección 506 East Main Street, lo cual indica, ¿verdad? Comercio Río Grande, como quien dice. No venimos realmente a discutir con nadie, no queremos realmente pleitos de ningún tipo, lo único que queremos es lo justo, o sea, no queremos realmente venir a decir es que es mi derecho. Yo también soy residente de Río Grande, ¿verdad? Casi desde que nací, o sea, yo no tengo la culpa que yo tenga 35 años, ¿verdad? Y otras personas tengan más, o sea, yo siento que mi derecho, si yo soy de aquí, o sea, siento que tengo el mismo derecho que una persona que tenga un poquito más de tiempo. No veo, o sea, que por eso tenga que haber un poco de discriminación hacia mí, porque tengo menos años, o mi familia no es originaria de aquí, ¿verdad? O sea, se me hace que eso es algo irrelevante a lo que estamos tratando, ¿verdad? En este caso. Yo soy madre de familia, ¿verdad? O sea, soy mamá, claro. Estoy de acuerdo completamente que hay niños, lo cual yo cuido a mis hijos también, y que no queremos, ¿verdad?, ninguna incomodidad para los ciudadanos de Río Grande, porque yo soy ciudadana de Río Grande. Entonces, no estamos de aquí para venir a hacer daño, no estamos aquí para venir a pelear con nadie, o sea, estamos aquí porque queremos, ¿verdad?, negocio, queremos crecer, todo el tiempo ha sido la intención, queremos dar trabajos a personas, ¿verdad?, de aquí. Las personas que me ayudan en mi salón son personas de colegio, son muchachas que necesitan fines de semana trabajos, están en colegio. Las muchachas que me ayudan con mi área, tenemos áreas de videojuegos y, ¿verdad?, de niños, porque lo principal son personas de aquí. O sea, yo no vengo, ¿verdad?, a quitarle trabajo a nadie, sino al contrario, darle trabajo a mismas personas de aquí. Y vaya, no queremos realmente juzgar a nadie. Yo no sé qué intereses haya aquí realmente, o sea, como dijo la señora mis Salinas, a la abogada la conocemos y sabemos, ¿verdad?, de dónde son sus papás, dónde está ella. Entonces, o sea, se nos hace un poquito injusto, o sea, no sé, no llamarle discriminación a lo mejor, pero sí injusto de que ella dé su punto de vista, siendo que ella, o sea, debería de ser imparcial en el caso, porque pues hasta cierto punto ella también está a lo mejor en contra de nosotros porque ella vive ahí, ¿verdad? No queremos venir a dañar a nadie. O sea, la señora Salinas a lo mejor a nosotros no nos conoce en lo más mínimo, al señor Garza a lo mejor tampoco no nos conoce, ¿verdad? Pero, o sea, a lo mejor ha escuchado cosas de nosotros. Lo único que nosotros tenemos, perdón, yo sé que son 3 minutos, yo tengo mucho que hablar, mil disculpas, esta es una de público, mil disculpas, ¿verdad? Pero, o sea, no queremos dañar a nadie, ni queremos acusar a nadie, ni nada. nada, o sea, en lo más mínimo, solamente lo único que queremos es lo justo, o sea, si nosotros venimos y estamos cumpliendo con todos los requisitos de la ley, el bar todavía realmente no se abre, ahora no estamos diciendo que va a ser la música a todo vuelo, porque todavía no sabemos ni cómo va a ser la música, entonces no podemos estar, ¿verdad?, con...
Me dispensa, pero necesito seguir la junta.
Sí, ya entiendo.
Después de la junta voy a tener una discusión con la manejadora, la administradora Elisa,
Claro.
y a ver qué proceso hacemos para seguir lo que es, ¿verdad?
Yo lo único que les digo es que tomen mucho en consideración que estamos aquí realmente para trabajar, todo el tiempo hemos seguido las reglas y los requisitos que nos piden, o sea, no estamos aquí para en lo más mínimo incomodar a nadie, porque les digo, nosotros somos gente de familia también y no queremos incomodar absolutamente a nadie, nada más que se haga lo justo realmente, o sea, nada de discriminación, nada de...
Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Y gracias por estar aquí en dos puntos de vista, y la discusión va a seguir, o tener una junto con la administradora y hablamos y a ver qué vamos a resolver. Okay. Thank you for being here in either way. Thank you for expressing your ideas in public forum. Ms. Holly, do we have anybody in the public forum?
No, sir, that's all.
Last call for public forum. Therefore, we move on this agenda to item number 2, and it reads, public hearing on the application Texas Parks and Wildlife for assistance to construct a skate park. Let the record show that I go through the standard public hearing protocol, Ms. Holly?
I'm sorry, Mayor, but we do, after all, have an agenda item on 2A.
We do?
Yes.
Yes, I know,
Yeah.
but this is a public hearing part, right?
Yes.
That's right, so I'm saying we
Oh,
go
I'm
through.
sorry, Mayor.
So I'm gonna, where is it? Is it in the packet or is it?
It's 3A, I'm sorry.
3A.
You got me, please.
So do you want me to announce the time of the hearing? Okay, that's what I meant. Ladies and gentlemen, as part of a meeting, we're applying for a assistance, what would be called a grant through Texas Parks and Wildlife for construction of a skateboard park. It looks like you mentioned that this application and the money that we possibly could acquire come from a visit that we did to Austin, Texas on behalf of the city. It was myself, it was Ms. Elisa, it was Hollis Rutledge, Mario Reina, and we went to Texas Parks and Wildlife, and they informed us that in a quick fashion they might have some money available, which is a surprise to us. That's why you see kind of a very short time element. So please, Ms. Holly, it is 12:20. Let the record show that we're opening up the public hearing section of this application. If anybody has any comments on the application in any way, shape, or form, please bring it before this commission. That way we can complete this process and proceed with the meeting. Does anybody have any questions, inquiries on the application portion of this project? One more time, anybody have any questions, comments, any kind of discussion on the public hearing section for the Texas Parks and Wildlife assistance to construct a skateboard park? This is a grant, and this is a part in the process of the grant. Any comments from anybody? Commissioners, Mayor Pro Tem?
Just to add, Mr. Mayor, that it's obvious that skateboarding has become very popular. In fact, they're in our school grounds where they are in some areas allowed to skateboard, but it's not the safest and best facility for them to do so. I've seen them out on the streets trying to skateboard down the boulevards, and you know there is a lot of traffic in some of these areas, and I think that this is a very good project for the community, especially for those enthusiasts in skateboards, and I hope that this project can be accomplished.
This is a grant application. This is, I guess, outdoor living. The Parks and Recreation Department of City of Rio Grande is only 5 years old. So it's very exciting to have, you see the little group of children, or young men and children, that are walking around looking for somewhere to go, and they have nowhere to go. And you're right, Mr. Gaza, I mean, they sometimes skateboard on the streets because they have nowhere else to be. Once upon a time, I used that, and I can relate to that, when many of us as children played in the streets. We played football and baseball in the streets because we had nowhere else to go. So I think this, hopefully, if we can get our application in an appropriate amount of time, we can get anywhere from $75,000 to $150,000 depending on the application. So very encouraging. I think we have a real good shot at getting this. Does anybody have any more comments? Okay. if there's no comments on this, I'll let the record show that it is 12:23 in the afternoon, and the hearing for the application for Texas Parks and Wildlife has concluded. Therefore, the end of the public hearing is at 12:23 for the record. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I move in this agenda, the consent agenda, and that's item number A. Please address yourself to item number A, Commissioners, Mayor Pro Tem. It's approval of departmental travel request, but I don't think we have any, do we? We have a handout. Okay, it's a handout. Okay, I don't have it. Yes, we have a handout. It's a police department trying to get training. But people don't realize, let me say something on this. Everything the police department does, everything the fire department does, even public works, there's a training process where they have to go to the state and they have to get licensed, they have to get certified, otherwise we cannot provide the service. This one is for, I think for radar, right?
This is the
Right.
library instructor training, Mr. Castillo is here, Assistant Chief, and this will save us money.
Yes, the gentlemen you see carrying zappers out there, they have to be certified to be able to do that, correct?
That's correct. This is basically telling the trainer, the corporal that we go into that training will be able to certify all the other officers that we have here, and they won't have to go anywhere to get certified. So,
Oh, wow.
that would alleviate all the other traveling and all the other stuff.
Then we're going to be in-house training our people.
Correct, and what happens there is that if we have any coming else, anybody coming that's new or people that transition different days that took the course, he can actually give them as they're coming in, and we don't have to send 2 or 3 people at a time. So.
Very good. Just give me, I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Garza, second?
Also motion.
Second by Commissioner Ramirez. Just real quick, we do something similar in animal control, we do something similar, we have vector control in the public works, so trainings are very important. I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem, I have a second by Commissioner Ramirez. Any more discussion? If not, we go to vote. All in favor, side, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. Letter 4 reads, ordinances, and this is first reading and approval of ordinance number 2014-9 to designate a portion, FM 3167, to be known as Veterans Memorial Drive. For that, we have Ms. Beas that's going to give us some information on this. Ms. Beas, please.
Yes, sir, Mayor and Commissioners, in your handout packet, you received the ordinance number 2014-9. This is a section of road that was suggested at our last meeting, a very interesting suggestion by the group of Mr. Ramos and Mrs. Ramos for leading the initiative to get this section of FM 3167, which is also known as Hospital Road, and it's from Highway 83 all the way to Bison Proper, an area to honor our veterans, something that I think is good for the community, and I hope you all will consider it favorably.
The idea was brought to our attention last month, and I think it was a wonderful idea, Mr. Ramos. We obviously jumped on it very quickly. It's something that I think is a very fine tribute to the veterans and to the soldiers who I guess put their lives in danger every day in places abroad and here domestically. Most recently we had a brigadier general, I believe, or something like that was killed in Afghanistan, and that just goes to show that no matter what the rank, when you're abroad and you're in a foreign country and there are people that see you as enemy, you are in harm's way. So I think by calling it Veterans Memorial Drive fits in well with the school system, which we have, General Sanchez out there. We have Veterans Middle School. Now we're going to have Veterans Memorial Drive. It's a process. It's a long one. It's not going to happen anytime soon, but this is the first initial step. After that, Elisa has instructed me of the further steps that have to go to TxDOT. So this is the first really big step for us, and after that, we're going to have to pursue it.
Yes, sir, I did speak with Elia Gracia, our area engineer for the TxDOT department, and this is a first step in order for it to be named. The addresses will not be changing. This is an honorary name that's being set aside for this portion of the aftermarket road 3167.
The Commission, Mayor Pro Tem, anybody have any comments on this?
Does Mrs. Ramos have anything to add to it?
Everybody that I've talked to is very, very receptive. They really love the idea, and we do a lot of networking, I guess you would call it. But everybody that we talk to is very, very much in favor of this, and they're very, it'll show pride, and I think that's going to be good for us. to know, because that other name is so, like that number is like,
It has several names and
I've heard
it's
airport,
3167,
hospital.
it's Hospital Road, it's Airport Road, you know, I can go back further, it might be even called.
El Camino Blanco itself.
Come on, go. I was gonna say it's
I
South
think
Road.
if we have it finalized and,
I don't know about how long the process is, we've never done it where the road actually belongs to the state, so I can't give you a time frame, but I know that there's a biennium coming up, meaning there's a session, and that's when things get done a lot quicker, so I don't see it taking a huge amount of time, but I wouldn't be surprised if it takes 6 or 9 months, so. but
let's see what happens, yeah.
very good.
I'd like to thank you for the homework, making it a lot easier for us.
Well, there's more work later on.
So, we'd like to thank you for bringing it to our attention and basically just putting it on the table for us.
Well, and I'll be glad to go to Austin, if we need to talk to representatives.
Please go.
Please go.
At this point, I'll entertain a motion for everything except sending Ms. Ramos. I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem, do I have a second? I'll take Mr. Jones' a second, if you don't mind, Mr. Ramirez. I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Gonzalez, I have a second by Commissioner Jones. Any more discussion on this item? If none, I'll entertain a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Ms. Elisa, next meeting, let's have a update. Let's keep track of this because we get lost. Ladies and gentlemen, please go to 5 on this agenda. And 5 is letter A, is the one we're going to consider first. And it reads, consider resolution number 2014-17, accepting the certificate of completion for the construction of the Efraín A. Durán water treatment plant. And this was tabled back in 7/24 of 2014. Ms. Reyes, let's put this one back in the basket and take it out.
It's a bit. This is finally the last step in closing out the loan that the city took out. We were in the process of getting a empty punch list completed. It has been done. In the process of the last meeting, we were ready to have it approved, but we had a change in staffing at the CDM.
Or CDM Smith.
CDM Smith. And so we finally got the information, which you have in your packet at the very end, who the person will be signing off. Sheetra P. Foster is now the person. And so we're finally, in order to move on with our District Development Board applications, we need to close this one down, and everything's in order.
I will mention that we went to the Austin meeting, we went to Water Development Board, they did bring up the fact that we had this lingering item and they like to see closure, they like to see a project go from start to finish, and they did inquire. Luckily, Elisa had informed me about the process that was soon to come, and we told them it would be closed soon. So this officially is the last part of the process of the, $1 million 6-7 MGB water treatment plant infiltration on my anymore. So it's a necessary step, and I'm very grateful to the community for their patience in us being able to do this, but also to the engineering firm and to the commission for their guidance. What are the wishes of the commission on this?
Second.
I'll take a motion by Commissioner Ramirez, and I'll take a second by Mayor Pro Tem Garza. Any more discussion? If no discussion, I'll move to vote. All in favor, side, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Resolutions, letter B. I think it fits in nicely with the 1 and 4A. So letter 5B reads, consider resolution number 2014-20 to name the city park on FM 3167, Silver Star Park. And for that, Ms. Baez is going to give us a rundown now.
As earlier mentioned, in keeping with the theme of veterans along FM 3167, soon to be known as Veterans Memorial Drive, we do have an area that was a detention area, or is a detention area, and we have since then been making improvements for, as it's now become used by the community there for their fitness and exercise routine. It hasn't had a name, it's been known by several names also, just like the state, the West System has been known. Also, Ms. Ramos came in, and Ms. Ramos came in with this suggestion, also part of the whole package that they did their homework on. And so the start is to recognize 3 veterans, Mr. Robert Canina, John Schubert, and Fabio Gonzalez, as Silver Star recipients in the area of the Rio Grande.
Fitting in conjunction with what we're doing with Veterans Drive, and yes, thank you, Mr. Ramos, for had been considering names similar but not quite as fitting. I think this is a very fitting tribute again to the community and to this country and to this great state of Texas, because we all are patriotic. We're a very patriotic community, and it's wonderful when you get to mention people like the Silver Star recipients that we have here. We have Roberto Tijerina, John Schufert, and Fabio Gonzalez, served in World War II in the Korean conflict. I really embraced the name, and we did quickly, so obviously you saw it took less than a month for us to put in the agenda, so we're very excited. This process will be quicker. What will typically happen here is, if it's passed by this commission, is it gets designated, we rename it, we start making signage, but we probably won't have an official ceremony until sometime in November when it's a lot cooler.
That would be good.
Yes, sir.
If I may, Mayor, we have already started contacting the families to get the background, like the other work that we have done, to what they did, when they did it, how they did it. We had already done it once. I guess we misplaced it, so we're gonna have to redo it. But that's gonna take a little while well, Elia will probably do most of it.
If you advise them, tell them that the time for meeting will be November and January, just for purposes of weather.
Yeah.
I think most of them have it, it's just that
November for Veterans Day, maybe.
For Veterans Day.
when you get this military documents, it is very, very hard to put a personal touch on the vocabulary that they use. And that's very, I can tell you what 214 says, what most people won't understand what it means. So we need to say what they actually did, put a little personal thing. What Roberto Tijerina did to earn that medal. What John Schufert did to him, what Flavio did to him, that type of thing. Hopefully we'll get it done like that.
Well, we'll have time. This commission so designates the park, and I think we're very likely to do so. We'll make a ceremony, and hopefully we'll wait, maybe Veterans Day. We'll look at, let's say, we'll get the signage going. We really won't get the signage going probably until conjunction with that. We do it for obvious reasons of making the ceremony more, I guess,
I'm thinking about kind of like what the city did for Mr. Bandera. Maybe having 3 with each one. I don't know if we could get a special deal. Or maybe something just to explain what the Silver Star is. Because a lot of people don't.
we can work with that. But those are the ideas we can play with, and we have enough time between now and then to.
Yeah, we can work with Edgar. And, as a teacher, I think patriotic traits also have to be learned. And that's how we have to teach kids. When we take them to a park, we read it to them, and we tell them what's Silver Star, what's valor, what's courage. And these people lived here, and I think that's how our kids are going to have to go. They're going to have to kind of backtrack to teach those things. And I really appreciate your work.
Well, thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you both of you, Ms. Ramos, and I thank her more than you, Sam. But thank you for bringing this to this commission, and I think it's going to be a very fitting tribute. I keep on saying that, but it really, really hits at home. So with that, ladies and gentlemen of this commission, I ask for a motion. I have Mayor Pro Tem Garza that makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll say that motion.
I really look for it in you are. So I have a motion, and I'll read it one more time. Consider resolution 2014-20 to name the city park on 3167 Silver Star Park. A motion by Mayor Pro Tem Garza, a second by Commissioner Ramirez. Do I have any more discussion? If no discussion, does anybody have to say anything? If no discussion, I will go to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Let the record show that it's a unanimous decision on that item. Thank you very much one last time. Under 6, planning, we move to 6A, and I have a notation about tabling this item. Consider request by Mireida Cifeña for wine and beer retailer's license for proposed business location, 506 East Main Street, Suite B, table 724. Ms. Bea, some information, if you will, please.
Yes, sir. The commission looked at this item last meeting on 7/24, and you all voted to send it back to planning and zoning for further review. Planning and zoning did meet yesterday. You do have a memo in your handouts. The recommendation for the planning and zoning is to table this item. They are wanting to hold a public hearing. They'd like for them, for you all to allow them to continue their process in order to come back to you all with a decision.
Okay, as long as it's done in a very expeditious fashion, because I don't want to hold up the process any. So favor of tabling this item, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The motion carries to table. Please make sure, Ms. Holly, that's in the next agenda. Está diciendo que lo platique en español lo que acabamos de hacer. Hubo un motion, un movimiento aquí en los regidores para poner en la agenda que sigue. En ese tiempo vamos a tener así por decir,
Una audiencia pública.
audiencia pública para discusión. Eso va a ser la comité de la planeación que tenemos y vamos a ir platicando y a ver si podemos resolver lo que se pueda resolver. Y de ese punto a la siguiente agenda que tengamos en 2 o 3 semanas, no sé cuándo va a ser, ya pase el tiempo va a ser una decisión final. Así que no puedo platicar, lo siento mucho. Así que esa es la acción que ya acaba de pasar aquí. Y si quiere hablar conmigo después, con todo gusto, pero ahorita necesito terminar la cuenta.
Es para terminar la iniciación que se hizo con la comisión ayer. Nadie tuvo que atender la audiencia pública.
So, we already voted on that? Okay, let's vote here. Next item on 6, we vote on? We did?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
You made the motion, sir? Mr. Rabino?
I know, I'm making sure. Okay, consider request by Pedro Ibarra for wine and beer retailer license for proposed business location 5342 East Highway 3. Ms. They have some information on this, please.
Yes, sir. This is also an item that came up for planning only yesterday. Impala Event Center, this is towards the area of
Across the Ford dealership.
Where, I'm
Ford
sorry?
dealership.
Across the Ford dealership.
In the area of the Trophy Plex Center,
Where Smiling Chinese?
Yes. All that.
Okay.
the far buildings on the east side.
Oh, to the event center, okay.
Yes.
Okay,
And it was approved and they are recommending approval.
Commission, what are the wishes? Mayor Pro Tem makes a motion, do I have a second? I have a second by Commissioner Jones. Any more discussion? If none, I'll go to a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next item reads, consider approval for Rio Delta Engineering to provide administrative engineering surveying services for VFW lift station force main replacement project. Ms. Baez, tell us about some force main replacement project, please.
Yes, sir, we've been with this project for some time in a discussion of identifying the existing infrastructure and what was going to be needed. We've met several times with the building utilities director, with our city engineer, Miguel Delta de Barquera. And it's necessary that from the lift station at BMW all the way up to a 12-inch line that's around the Walmart utility easement area, that line needs to be replaced. What's coming down is right now we have a 6-inch force main. It is not enough capacity to sustain the growth that we're experiencing.
Why don't you tell us what a force main is?
I'll let the engineer explain that one.
Tell us what a force main is.
Mayor, force main, ladies and gentlemen, the audience. Here in this part of Texas, we're flat and only wastewater is conveyed by gravity system in the clearing. Ya nomás llegamos hasta cierto lugar, we can only go so far by gravity. Tenemos que bombearla, we have to pump the water. Pump it back up
You pick it up and push it
down
Level
another direction. So a force main is that pipe that is under pressure because of a pump. So that's what it is. We're connecting
You're creating the
wastewater.
gravity. You're creating the gravity.
The force through.
We're replacing the gravity. We're pumping it by mechanical means rather than by gravity because we can't get it by gravity.
I just want to make it clear because force main sounds real complex. It's actually much simpler. It is your.
And there are no service connections to a force main. This
That
goes
is great.
straight to a building.
That's good news. That's very good.
I so move.
Mayor Pro Tem makes a motion. Does have a second?
I'll second the motion.
I have a second by Commissioner Ramirez on the side of it. Any more discussion? If no more discussion, I'll entertain a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is D, and reads, consider award of bid of JF Trenching and Paving Construction LLC of the Las Lomas Drainage Project for this phase development. I don't know if it's included in your packet. It's in a handout, okay? We had a bid process in this, and I will read them. They're actually very close, so I will read them. It's JF Trenching and Paving at $40,673, and I have 5-Star Clark Construction at $42,100. 42-179. The way the item reads is, it's for the, let me have it read, yeah, JF trenching. However, I'm really leaving it kind of open-ended because these are both under $50,000 and there's such a small differential. I don't know what the commission wants to do on this, and if we can do something on this, Councilor. Does it have to be, can we modify the wording if they choose to go with the other bid, or does it have to go on the next agenda? Because this item is very specific to the trenching and paving construction of JF.
If you're going to want to move,
The thing is, it's like a 1 or 2% differential, so I'm not, yeah, the low bidder is obviously JF trenching, but I don't want to, say, it's such a small differential. If they want to, if the commission wants to stick with the low bidder, of course they can via this item. If they have a desire to go with the other company, can we use this item or not?
actually, every city is deciding.
How would it have to be
Because
worded?
it's regarding Las Lomas drainage projects.
Okay, so how would we word it?
You make the motion to go with
Mentioning
bid number one,
the,
the lowest bid, or the second to the lowest.
okay.
Because you have already put the public on notice that this is the award of the bid of Las Lomas drainage project. As long as it's the same project and it's not a different project, you're
The reason
free to
I
decide which bid you're going to accept or not accept.
we typically go a little bidder, but small differential, and it's like 3% or something. So I'm really opening it up to the commission if they want to make modifications. This was simply the way that it was written in the agenda, and I don't want it, to make it.
Mayor, due to the circumstance of comparing the two bids, I'm gonna make the motion that we go with Five Star Clark Construction. It's a fraction of a difference, and I move that we use Five Star for this project. They have started on a project related to this one, and they need to finish it up.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Garza to take the bid of Five Star Clark Construction at the total of $42,179. Do I have a second to that?
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Jones. Let me emphasize one very important item. The reason I'm being a little more, flexible on this item is under $50,000. And items under $50,000, we just want to be very transparent what we're doing. That's why you see it on this agenda. These can be made simply as an administrative choice, but Ms. Beas always feels that for Ms. Beas, it's always anything over for
It's a
maybe.
little bit, save money.
No bidder, but for Ms. Beas also, it's a question of she usually says anything over 10,000, she can pretty much do on an administrative, or even 20,000, but since this comes so close, so I just wanted to make it real clear to the commissioners that item is written that way, but it opens it up. So that having been said, I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem, I have a second by Commissioner Jones, I think it was, yes, on this item. And with that, I will go to a vote. All in favor of the item as indicated through Mr. Mayor Pro Tem's motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item we have on the agenda, and actually this is really the reason we're having this meeting as quick as we are, is the city manager report under that. We're going to have consider approval of proposed tax rate for year 2014. Keep in mind that we're at that point, this is only where it's a marathon, meaning we have to hit our different steps and our different points. That way we can get our proper tax rate out. So with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Beas, that will give us some information on the tax rate for 2014. Ms. Beas.
Sir, in your packet, you do have a memo from Ms. Mary Valera, our finance director, in conversations with also Laura, the tax assessor, giving us all the information. The total tax rate, as you see it there, is maintenance and operation rate is 0.42025 per $100 valuation, and the interest and sinking rate is 0.112724 per $100 valuation, being the total tax rate at 0.514749. This rate is similar, basically the same as we passed last year.
That's identical.
Based just for minor fractions at the very end, but it doesn't affect in any way substantially the budget or the taxes to the community.
Let me say something about tax rate. I studied tax rate at length once upon a time, and I still gauge them very carefully. For the size of the community, Rio Grande City, is we have one of the lowest tax rates in South Texas, not just the valley, challenge to find somebody of our size, with the infrastructure we have, with the water situation we have, that has a comparable tax rate. It's very affordable. It's one of the lowest in South Texas, and we've always managed to keep it down. It may not always be that way. It may not always be that way, but fortunately right now we have been able to keep it at 50-51, and this is almost identical to the previous years. Now keep in mind that inflation goes up. Even the cost of gasoline goes up. The cost of your gallon of milk in your store goes up. Everything goes up. Our job as a commission is to be as frugal as possible when it comes to tax rate and trying to hold the line. So that sounds like a very appropriate tax rate. I think she's showing me 51.
That's yours.
Well, yes. That was 51,4080, and this one's 51,74, which is
Or 74.
fractions of a penny. So
And if I may, I think Mary has also prepared a schedule.
okay, this is the part where we start getting into having a series of meetings. So I start calling the commissioners, or have somebody call you all and explain to you that we have to have a meeting at a certain time. If it comes to a sequence that is necessary, Mary, tell us why we have to have the meetings when we do to have a tax rate.
A budget has to be proposed and be held on file for 30 days prior to it being adopted. Since our budgets, under our city charter, we have a 2 reading of every ordinance. In order to get the tax rate by state law, we have to set our final set tax rate by September 30th. But in order to have 2 readings of the budget ordinance and the tax rate ordinance, we have to push it back to early September in order to have the first reading in early September, so that we can have our second reading
Does everybody
in time.
understand it?
Yeah.
Okay, again, tax rate, everybody understand the tax rate?
This tax rate, Mayor, if the commission approves this proposal, you do not have to have a public hearing, as mentioned here in the memo.
Fortunately, and I say we're very blessed. We've been very careful with our expenditures. We've been careful with our investments, because we've made investments in our water and our sewer.
I was gonna add, Mr. Mayor, that in spite of everything that you've said, Rio Grande and this commission and those people that work for the whole system have managed to do a lot of improvements. Some people don't believe how much we've done in such a short time, but it's really good that we managed to do a lot of improvements in our infrastructure, as well as our paving projects, our new water facility and sewer facility, and we're still continuing to try and expand or to improve our water system, and I want to congratulate everybody that worked for Rio Grande and to this commission for being able to accomplish what we have.
And the thing about it, Mayor Pro Tem, and I'm not going to say any more beyond this, we do have other services that are planned for the city. Obviously, we're still expanding on our parks project. I've had discussions with some of you about expanding on our animal control. That's the one facet that we are needing to have a bigger budget for, and it's necessary. You know, the situation about having strays and having safe neighborhoods has to do with patrolling and making sure that pet owners are responsible. And I think everyone at this table has probably a pet lover, including myself. So we appreciate our pets, but absolutely the community must be judged on its ability to handle the animal control part of it. So that might be our next investment on top of law enforcement that's ongoing. Law enforcement is always a priority, and as you've known, you've seen the papers and you read, we are going through some circumstances now, but I see Lieutenant Solis outside. The PD has done a magnificent job of cooperating with all the agencies, so same tax rate, improved services, and we're going to try to keep on that tangent as long as humanly possible. But you're right, Mayor Pro Tem, we've come a long way, and hopefully we'll keep on doing just that. Does anybody have any questions before I go?
With that being said, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to propose the maintenance and operation tax rate of .402025, and an interest and sinking tax rate of .11 13724 for a total proposed tax rate of .514749 per $100 valuation.
Well worded.
Commissioner Hernandez, do I have a second to that?
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Jones. Any more discussion? If no discussion, I will go to a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Jackie, did I go through all the agendas? Ms. Holly,
Yes, sir.
do you have anything to second?
No, Mayor.
Okay, let me go around the room, and I do have a few announcements I want to make sure that we get out. We'll start, and I will get you my other packet. You know what, we'll take your, before we adjourn, let's go to Marlene's handout. She wants to let everybody know what she's done, and go ahead, Marlene, tell us, explain to us these wonderful pictures, yes.
Okay, well, these events are not always my events. I cover them on behalf of the city, so I go representing the city. And on some of them, yes, I did have more of a leading role. The first one that we see is the United Way Day of Caring, which was sometime in June. I haven't presented it in June. And so you'll see the big group of people and the city employees that were there. And then we were also present at the Subway Alto Bonito grand opening, because she's always been a very important leader in our community, so we went to go support her. And I'm speaking of Ms. Rosa Gonzalez, and so you see the pictures there. And then I was present also at the Rio Grande City Public Library End of Summer Day program, which they had at the Basito Villarreal Park, and I assisted in taking pictures and covering it for our social media. And then you'll turn the page, and also the public library hosted author Angelica Plan Reina. She's a well-known author, and her book had to do with her life along the Rio Grande, and it was basically a narration of her father's life. And so there was a gathering of people there, and I went to go cover that for the city, and she signed and sold some copies. And then if you'll turn the page, there's also the public library hosts Buscando a Frida, which was also in collaboration with Main Street, which I'm the Main Street program coordinator. And in that one, several people dressed up, including myself, and we did small narrations of phrases said by Frida Kahlo. And so you see we kind of dressed up and wore flowers in our hair, and it was open to the public. And then if you turn the page, I was present at when Mr. Leo Olivares hosted his third annual Revival of the Renaissance at the public library as well. It was a small group of people. Sorry, I meant to
But
say.
you know what? City manager Leo Olivares from Westwood was probably thinking of
I don't know why.
Sort of, right? That's a
I don't know where I got it.
I'm
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
I'm gonna send him a text right after we're thinking of it.
Okay, sorry, I apologize. And then you'll turn to our 4th of July concert at the kiosk, and we did give out free hot dogs and free sparklers and lemonade also to everyone in attendance. And so you'll see the pictures of that. We decorated the kiosk beautifully, and it was a very lovely project that you see that we had law enforcement and public works present. And then we turn the page, Citro Inc. at the public library again. And that one, it was mostly for children, and some adults were there, and they also participated using puppets, and they were live turtles of all types, and some of them were injured, and it was about conservation. So that was a nice event. And then I also went to SCC, Stark County Campus, the 6th annual Role Models Conference put on by the Psychology Club, and you'll see them all gathered there with their role models, which they spoke beautifully. And then if you'll turn the page again, we put together a luncheon for Ms. Vania Amador, because she left her work here with the city to move on to bigger and better things, maybe, I don't know. And so I took pictures of that, of our gathering here at the Lopez Tina courtyard, and we all pitched in for the food, and we bought her a cake. And I think she had a good time. And then you'll see the 4 Dice Nature Trails grand opening. That was just this past week. And you'll see that some of the city commission was there gathering. And
Every time I see a picture of the city commission, I always notice that I'm the shortest one.
and we had a ribbon cutting. We had some nice. an artist, Darío, I can't remember, Cruz. He's a wire artist and he does, things out of wire, and he did a representation of the band, just as it looked. So, and they really liked it.
What you're missing from your also at the Mexican American Chamber of Commerce Convention in Cali.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't mention that one?
I just forgot. So I do so much.
Yeah, Madeleine was there. We had people, there was people there from Odessa, El Paso, Killeen, Houston, Austin, San Antonio. Obviously, parts of the Rio Grande Valley were great networking event. I got lots of contacts from that event. I'm glad we were there represented. But people would ask, where you from? And I said, we have people back there. So it was, thank you for your efforts. Madeleine's in a lot of places. It's just hard to, I always insist that she gives a report because she's all over the place and pictures definitely do tell a big story. Anything else, Madeleine?
Well, we have our monthly market days at the beginning of next month, which will be September 6th. And then the public library is going to host author Javier Garza on the 14th at 7 p.m.
Pancho Plaza, right?
Yeah, he does mostly children's books, but they are related to our South Texas culture. And then tomorrow, related to the Reading for Life, I'm a chair on the Reading for Life. We're having our kickoff at the First Baptist Church Fellowship Hall at 6:30.
Very good. Anything else?
No,
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much for all you do. Appreciate all the hard work. Let me go around the table. I'm trying to finish the meeting in 1 hour. Mr. Ramirez, school's going to start. Are we going to win a district title this year?
We sure hope so, Mayor. Kids are working hard. Football practice, volleyball practice, and some other sports that can practice year round already started, but officially volleyball and some of the team sports started on Monday. Working hard, coaches are working hard, and again, wish them the best of luck this year, and hope to advance on the playoffs this year. So, wish them well.
Very good. You're putting guys in.
Well, schools on control, everything's on.
Right now, sir, I'll remind you in a month. Commissioner Jones, anything, sir?
Just want to thank them. Just want to thank her and strongly just encourage the community that if they have any ideas, that they want to bring forth to the commission, we're here to work with the public, and any ideas that they might have for them just to come over. It's good to talk the talk, but it's greater to walk the walk. So I welcome the new ideas to be brought forward to the commission, and willing to work with the public for it.
Thank you very much, sir. Some real quick announcements. Let me just mention, the first and foremost, we had a transition of responsibility and authority. Chief Piper announced officially of his retirement. After 42 years of service to law enforcement, he decided to retire from the city of Rio Grande. He has passed on the day-to-day operations to Chief Castillo. I know he's not here, but I want to thank Chief Piper for his service to the city and to law enforcement. 41 years is a career in itself, and we wish him well in his future. He's going to be with us probably till November, December, and at that point he's going to retire officially. So I did want to mention Chief Piper and thank him for his service. I also want to mention something that the police chief mentioned to me, and I should make everybody aware of this. We are being very proactive in the police department with the questions of the DWIs, driving while intoxicated issue has been a very difficult responsibility for us as a community because it puts so much of a strain on our resources. The typical stop may take anywhere from an hour and a half, so that's why it's been challenging for other reasons of equipment and training, like I talked before. Now the police department is focusing in on that facet of law enforcement, so I should let the public know that the city of Rio Grande, now that school is starting especially, are going to be very, very careful to encourage people to drink responsibly and to please use good judgment when getting behind the wheel. Because if they don't, there will be law enforcement on top of DPS and on top of Sheriff's Department. There's going to be the city of Rio Grande that's now putting an extra emphasis on the question of getting behind the wheel when you may not be really, really ready to do that. The last thing I'll mention, and I will say with a great deal of pride, I was at the convention for the Mexican American Chamber of Commerce, and then I had ETT and AEP at Lee Jones. We had an impromptu meeting in one of the offices there, and I'm very proud to announce that AEP through ETT is embarking upon the biggest project in grid action or grid conductivity in South Texas. They have a $1 billion, you heard right, $1 billion grid project that's coming to the valley. What this is going to do, and I know it's the only copy I have, is going to offer the Rio Grande Valley 2 lines of conduit of power. These 2 come along the coast. The 2 coming along the coast are the ones that exist right now. The problem with those is that they're susceptible to hurricane damage. Mother Nature hits them, knocks everything out. Their proposal, and they already started buying right away, they started the process, that's why they came to me, that's why he sits before you. They're running a line, and I showed Mr. Garcia saw it already, I showed it to you earlier, is running down, right along Stark County. They're putting a booster station not too far from where we are, and that's going to feed the Rio Grande Valley all the way to Brownsville. So this is $1 billion. It's a good economic boost for us because they're going to be in an area working. You're going to have people occupying our hotels, occupying our restaurants, occupying our stores. You know, we've had a very fortunate movement. We had the wind farm in 2 phases. We had the gas pipeline. Now we have energy coming down in our area. Also, I will interestingly mention that it finishes in Brownsville, Texas, around Brownsville, Texas, which, by the way, landed the SpaceX project. That's a $1.6 billion investment into the Rio Grande Valley. So the Rio Grande Valley is not the one that we know anymore. I tell you to look around the horizon because in the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to see immense differences. We have the UT-RGV creation of that college, of the university system. We have a brand new medical school. So the Rio Grande Valley is literally exploding. And that's one of the messages that I had friends from Odessa who told me very, very nicely that they have a 2% unemployment rate in Odessa. 2%. It's incredible. Everybody has a job. The typical person at McDonald's is making $14 an hour. The reason is that everybody else gets taken to the oil patch or the pipelines where they're making $30, $35 an hour. They mentioned to me is, I hope you have your infrastructure in place because if the boom hits and it's going to hit you, they seem to know. They told us that they talked to the energy companies, be prepared. And I was very fortunate that we've done the infrastructure. We've done the water, sewer, we've done the road, we've done the pipe, we've done all the necessary steps. And they were a little bit taken back to the fact they hadn't, so they're working on that. So $1 billion coming to Stark County, coming to the Rio Grande Valley, to Hidalgo County, to Cameron County, and it'll benefit everybody for power and for prosperity. So we have great things on the horizon. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think, do we have anything else? I know I have a motion to adjourn. Anything else? We have nothing else. I take a motion to adjourn. I have a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Mesa, a second. I'll take Mr. Garza. I have a second by Mayor Pro Tem Garza. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Let the record show, Ms. Holly, that is 1:06 in the afternoon, and this meeting of the City Commission of Rio Grande is adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.